Why is it that our Met Police will come at you all guns blazing if you are holding a St. George's flag? But if you've got a Palestine flag, you can do whatever the hell you want. So this is the footage from what has been going on today ahead of the 3 p.m. celebrations for St. George's Day. And you've got here the police sort of pushing and shoving with these patriots. Now, what is actually going on here? Well, according to the press, this is far-right thugs erupting into violence. But this is a very small snapshot with very, very little context. So on the whole, this has all been very, very peaceful. And then what happened is that the police suddenly decided to create a barrier and kind of cordon in these patriots for, seemingly no reason whatsoever, pen them in, and none of them have any idea why they are being forced into this pen and why they're not allowed to continue walking down the road. So as you can imagine, some of them got a little bit agitated, and you ended up with this bit of pushing and shoving. It's only lasted for a minute or so, and some people managed to break through the police barrier and walk on past and carry on with what they were doing. But as you can see, the police have really gone all guns blazing here. They've even brought in the horses to sort of stampede into the crowd. I wouldn't really want my toe to be stepped on by one of those horses, so I'm glad that I was not there. But the interesting thing about this is how the media reports it. So let's take a look. So after this happened, we had, first of all, LBC. Violent clash breaks out as far-right groups descend on London for St. George's Day march. Far-right. How do you know that these people are far-right? Just because they are white and they have a St. George's flag around their neck, does that make them far-right? Apparently in 2024 that does make you some sort of extremist. Now let's have a look at what Sky News, or Sly News as we may call them, has to say. Violence breaks out at St. George's Day event in central London. And Sky has also pointed out the Met had earlier warned that those attending the event were expected to include far-right groups and groups linked to football clubs travelling from elsewhere in the UK. So basically, if you're English and you like the English flag and or you like football, you're probably far right in the eyes of the Met Police, and they probably think that you're a security threat to this country, not any of the people on those marches that go on Saturdays. And then we've got, last of all, we have the Independent. Violence erupts at St. George's Day rally in central London. Now, I will give the press a little bit of slack in the sense that obviously they are more likely to report on chaos than on tranquility because it makes for better news. But I do think that they have some responsibility here for painting out patriots to be far-right violent thugs. As I said, this was very, very peaceful, everyone happy, everyone being respectful, and then you have sort of a 30-second schism in the midst of one big event with many, many people there, and that is the one thing which they all launch on. And the fact that they're calling them far-right in a lot of these media outlets is very, very concerning. They do not know, just from the fact that someone is white and someone has a St. George's flag around their neck, that they are some sort of extremist. This is very, very worrying. And I saw a very similar trend when I went to the Armistice Day celebrations on the 11th of November, and we had there this amazingly peaceful crowd. Everyone was so behaved, everyone was so respectful. There was all this worry about the Palestine protesters coming and disrupting the Armistice Day parade. But actually, turns out all of those Gen Z lot were still asleep at that time of the morning, and they didn't come out till the afternoon. Very, very peaceful. And then all of a sudden in the crowd in the background, we heard a couple of people shouting for about 10 seconds. And then all of our phones pinged off saying headlines like these: far-right thugs erupt into violence at Armistice Day parade. I mean, it was just absolutely ridiculously selective reporting, and this is clearly what has gone on here. Now, first we have the press to blame for, let's call it, two-tier reporting, but we've also got the police to blame for two-tier policing. Do they use this kind of force and this kind of aggression at the pro-Palestine protests? Don't know about you, but I haven't seen it. They are very, very relaxed. This comes just after we had, over the weekend, Gideon Falter, the chief executive of the Campaign Against Anti-Semitism, point blank told by a police officer, if you continue to stay in this area whilst looking openly Jewish, we will arrest you because you are breaching the peace, because you, just by looking Jewish, are antagonising the crowd, right? Painting him out as being in the wrong for being openly Jewish, right? But then, against the English Patriots with flags around their necks, they've got all the horses in and they are very, very happy to use force against the crowd. Mark Rowley, you have got to go. I've had enough of this two-tier policing. It is completely unfair. And it is very worrying because when you have two-tier policing, people do not know what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. The consequence of that is that everyone is scared to do anything. I've said this about the Scottish hate crime law. You've got a law that is very, very vague, and as a consequence, nobody knows quite what is acceptable, and hence they are scared to say anything. This is the problem with vague laws, and in this case, vague enforcement and inconsistent enforcement of the law. This is worrying stuff. Britain is under attack by its own police force, and the police will be very surprised when they see that the Brits don't have any faith in them anymore and won't do as they're told in, not very long, because they see this sort of stuff happen. They see the police are not on our side. They are not here to protect us. They are against us. This is very worrying. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Chloe Dobbs. Please make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you press the notification bell so you don't miss the next video. I will see you very soon.